everyone back to Pommy and us. Hope we're all doing really well. And we're here with another pre-season hit-out, which was a real hotly contested one. We're looking at St Kilda coming away with the win versus my Blues. And I've been saying all week, haven't I, with all the other teams, don't read into practice, don't look at the scores. It's okay. We're going to see if I'm a man of my word. In this, we will cover the game, give you a little brief catch-up so you understand what's been going on and what's happened. And then we'll have my 5 key talking points for us to really digest and get into for the next time these two sides play. So without any further ado, let's run that intro, get straight into it. In what was really an absolute furnace, as you can see, I'm sweating here in my office. St Kilda came away with a 69-58 point win over Carlton at their home, Icon Park. And there was a lot of absences of big name players here, particularly St Kilda, who were missing Max King, Rowan Marshall, Jack Sinclair, Mason Wood, Philippo, Liam Henry, Hunter Clark, Dougal Howard. Have I just named their 22? Zach Jones, Lance Collard, Ari Schoenmaker and Alex Tyree. Carlton were missing Jack Silvani, Sam Walsh, Nick Newman, Charlie Kerner, and our boy, Alex Pomcotter. And Carlton started really well. And what was really noticeable was we talked about ball movement. Michael Voss came out with that power and speed, new catchphrases for us to learn. And the real takeout, and we'll cover it a bit later, was Carlton's ability to have an extra kick to change the angle. Harry took some really good grabs in this quarter, and that was primarily caused by Carlton's ability to, instead of live down the wing, to cut back inside and then go back out and look to bring the ball in. Carlton did then, after that quarter, it kind of fell away and St Kilda kicked 4 goals straight from the second half and really played with the wind. And one of their big changes in this was their ability to go from playing the territory game to being very controlled, slowing it down. And what this did in that kind of heat meant Carlton were chasing shadows. The intensity had to drop off from the Blues because they were chasing shadows. They really did target Carlton's right-hand side defensively, the left-hand side for attack for St Kilda. And you really saw this, Boxall really becoming a pain in the bottom, leading up at half-forward. You saw it with Hugo Garcia. He targeted Ollie Hollands here, who was playing in his new role down at half-back, and they really looked to target that kind of lack of height. And what St Kilda did is, because they lacked a real natural tall, we saw that issue that we have seen with Carlton last year. When the ball hits the ground, it's chaotic, and St Kilda feasted on that. Carlton did have like a little bit of a tail wag in the fourth quarter, but the third, again, was very much like the second for the Blues. St Kilda, again, controlling the play, really dictating momentum, and in the end, the fourth quarter, Carlton's tail did wag a little bit, and Harry Mackay and TDK, who literally were shelved pretty much by this stage. You saw the younger players step up. Harry Lemmy kind of just ran around, but players did get some time on that. And Jesse Motlop was electric inside forward 50, kicking 4 really good goals, and 3 of them were from real scraps, really, shots to nothing. So really, all in all, for St Kilda, what did they learn in that game? St Kilda really did take out of that game that their defensive rigid structure and their ability to cause repeat stoppages, slow the game down, monotonize attack requires a lot of hard lifting from Carlton. And when that hard lifting kind of failed, you saw the skill difference between them. So that's a real huge takeout for St Kilda, that they will always be in close. That first quarter, I don't want St Kilda fans to get upset, but I would say Carlton were way better. And St Kilda's rigidness really allowed it. And that kind of lack of diversity with Carlton, that lack of third and fourth gear, really did show, which kept that quarter too short, which allowed St Kilda to edge ahead. So a lot of learnings for both sides. It's harder for St Kilda to have so many learnings because they've got like 9 players to come back. Carlton still have got some important players, Charlie Kerner, Sam Walsh, incredibly important players. But you did see that they did try and change them entries. It will be the application, which we will come on to later, is definitely a concern for me as a Blue Baggers fan. So let's look at them 5 takeaways. Motlop magic, the small forward steps up. With Matty always departing, it's time that Corey Durden, who unfortunately went off injured very early into the game, had to step up. Motlop had to step up. And he did show them signs. He took his 4 goals well. What really did impress me, though, was his ability not just to crumb the packs and apply the pressure, because he didn't let the halfback have easy touches. It was his ability to actually shark the pack and read it. And that is something that was really apparent in his draft year. And that really impressed me from Jesse. He was really active. It started horribly. There was a great passage of play. Carlton burst through the middle and he had an open goal and he completely cooked it. But to come back, kick 4 goals was probably A grade for Carlton. That was probably the best case scenario. He looks really fit. He looks really sharp. And he really could become a real dangerous option. And particularly kicking them 2 goals later in the game when Carlton's entries really did become shallow and kind of monotonous. That gives me a lot of hope, because when the best players come back, when Carlton find whatever they need to find, that holds me with a bit of hope, because he did look sharp. So that was really good from him. And you know what? Long may it continue, because when Charlie Curnow comes back there, he's got another big target to play off, and that's going to be a real key, because I thought he did really do well at the drop of the ball when Harry couldn't mark the ball. Hugo Garcia is a problem, and you know what? Ross the boss, I think, you know, you can say he plays monotonous style of play. One thing I'll say about Ross is he understands situations very well, and playing the Hugo Garcia on Ollie Holland's matchup was a very, very clever one. I thought Hugo was everywhere. He's two-way running. We talked about him in the pre-game, about what he can bring to St Kilda. And he's like kind of a real fox in the box type player. He doesn't need much touches to get things going. His work rate was a real thing of beauty. His link-up play was really solid. And he's kind of like, it was almost like Tweedledum and Tweedledee at times with him and Boxall. They just knew where each other were. And that was really strong. And I thought, when you looked at how that midfield operated, the way he managed to make himself free to get that give and go off Brad Hill, that's a real key cornerstone there. And I think when Philippou comes back in this side, Hugo Garcia will be cemented. And that's going to be a real cracking combination as 2 mid-forwards. He really stood out. Number 3 was Carlton's new plan of finding that extra kick. And I'm going to talk you through that, what I mean by that. If you watched Carlton last year, it was a kick from centre to back pocket down the wing. This new kick came up where Carlton kind of went either to the centre half back or to where left half back or right half back would be, dependent on which pocket came in. And this was really showcased with Nick Haynes down there. Incredible reliability. He looked composed and calm all the time. In the forward line, Carlton liked to hit the corridor from the wing and then go back out to the half forwards. And this was really successful in the first quarter. Now, I want you to go back and watch the last goal that Carlton kicked from the Sam Doherty miraculous handball where Ollie Hollands overcooked the kick. The big thing for Carlton is I think they might be the worst side in the league at 15-metre uncontested kicks. It has to be the case. Carlton's ability to make sure isn't very good. And this really did come apparent at times that although the new method is definitely better, it changes the angles in the 50. Harry's 2 marks in the opening 2 goals came from the fact it wasn't so central or so bomby. It was a split angle. It allowed the kick to be flatter, allowed him to get out in front. If them kicks aren't hit, though, it's turnover central. So that Sam Doherty kick, you watch it, it's about 2 metres too far to right of Doherty, which then puts him into trouble. He takes a miraculous grab one-handed. It then slows him down to get the next chain going, but he does get that kick, and it's scrappy. And that's the problem. When Cowan's basic skills are lacking, it means that that pressure game has to be really good. And when the pressure game is really good, it means that there's no control on the game. And if there's no control, it means you're expelling energy. And if you're expelling energy, eventually you get cut apart. And we saw that Carlton rely heavily on that extra pressure and that real hard edge. But there is hope. This kicking, should they get it right, which at times it's really good. At times there was some real good coast-to-coast goals where Carlton have hit uncontested players, bang, 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 goal. It looks really flavourful. And I do look at some of them players. I would like to see Chera play that Fantasia role or Walsh play that Fantasia role, who plays kind of like a playmaker. I think that is the actual system there because that would make it a little bit easier. But Carlton have got to get efficient. If Carlton can get efficient from them short things, I reckon they could have won this game by 4 or 5 goals. And it's a big if, but that's it. And it comes on to my point 4, Saints game management. Saints in the first quarter, with all them players missing, you thought, okay, Carlton's early pressure, it's going to kill them. Their ability to really understand what the situation required in that game, to go, right, let's shorten it up. Let's go to the fat side of the ground. Let's make Carlton chase shadows for a bit, was executed to perfection, and it allowed them to play standoffish. And this is why I was really excited about this practice game for Carlton, because against structured sides, I find us sometimes look a bit wanting. And that's where you saw St Kilda's game management there was really king. We know they're so hard to score against, and this game proved it at times. Carlton had a lot of entries inside 50 in that first quarter. The fact it was only a goal and a bit difference showed why they're so annoying to play against, because you're never really going to get a jump on them unless you really, really make hay early doors. And because they can always stay in games for longer, this ability to execute that system, I think, will hold them in good stead. I thought the way they kicked the goals, O'Connell was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely fantastic, his 2 goals. Butler, I thought Sharman looked really solid, and Caminiti, when he went forward, looked good. Toby T, who I'm a big fan of, he kicked his good goal. But that overlap run was there, but also they brought that different angle as well. They managed to get some real good contested football out of these players. So I think that will hold them in good stead in the season. I'm looking forward to seeing how that materialises. And number 5 is Carlton's pressure is its biggest weapon, but is it sustainable? In the first quarter, Carlton were really dining out, and when they did haphazard the kick, they were hurrying St Kilda up. When they did lose possession, they were making them play faster, making them play longer. And St Kilda weathered the storm really well. Obviously, when that's a real season game, they're not playing in 38-degree heat on a 11 o'clock. So I'd imagine they can sustain that longer. But it was real big pressure from the boys. And if we can mirror that up with some class, they will be in a good stage. I feel like my pre-season predictions of Carlton being 6th are still bang on from this, because their best to their worst is a huge gap, and we saw that in this game. But their pressure is chaotic. It really does allow them to play in their system. The only thing that worried me was point 4, their ability, St Kilda's ability to change how the game was going, and Carlton's inability to wrestle that back. That's going to be something for Carlton to do. Can they win games in different methods? Because point 1, their ball movement, that was a new and different method. If that takes hay, Carlton will look very dangerous, because they may have found a plan A that's better than plan A before. And currently plan B is come up with a better plan A. And we may have found it, them extra kicks, playing that extra forward of the ball, being very aggressive around stoppage. And that was a key corner point in the first quarter. Carlton loaded the attacking side and backed itself to win it, as opposed to last year where they banked it on the back half, defensive half. So they were some positives for Carlton. It's not all doom and gloom. Moving on, let's take it in. Jesse Motlop looks sensational for Carlton. Carlton definitely have a different strategy of finding more of an extra kick. Hugo Garcia looks ready to go, and the young kids at St Kilda and the B-grade players who are now playing did put their case forward. Carlton, if they can fix this, they will be a threat. But St Kilda are already showing they've got them layers to keep them standoffish. Next week's a huge test for the Blues against GWS, and I'm looking forward to that. But it is pre-season, a lot to work on, and that's a good thing, I think. It's a good thing. You want things to work on. So plenty more time to go, but it was an intense game, and I think both sides will have got a lot out of it. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I'll be back soon. Make sure you like and subscribe. Peace, love, and light. Pom out.
Spent all my life holding all of it closely. I played it innocent, a feel of discontent. I'm finally facing it all, fearless.